What if we want to change a database that doesn't have a model, like our SQL Store database? This database doesn't have a model like our school database. How can we change this database? That's really easy. The first time we need to do this, we need to reverse engineer this database to create a model. We'll use that model for any future changes. So first, I'm going to close this model that we created earlier in this section. This is really important because when we reverse engineer this database, if a model is already open here, MySQL Workbench will add this database to that model. Now, this is not a big deal, but it's better to have a separate model for each database. You can include multiple databases in one model, but that's something you want to do if these databases are highly related and you want to work with them in the same model. So our model is closed. Now on the top, we go to the database menu and select Reverse Engineer. So you can see MySQL Workbench automatically created a new model. In this model, we don't have any diagrams. So here on this window, we're going to select our connection. And then we select the database that we want to reverse engineer. So I'm going to select the SQL Store database. As you can see, we can select multiple databases. But once again, do that if these databases are highly related and you want to work with them in the same model. Now let's continue to the next step. All right, so here it's asking us if we want to import all the 7 tables in this database. Just like before, we can select Show Filter to exclude one or more tables. We don't want to do that because we want to add all our tables to our model. So let's execute this. All right, now here we have a new diagram that is added to our new model. It's right here, okay? Now back to the diagram, you can see all our tables and their relationships. This is really helpful in understanding our database design. For example, here we have a one-to-many relationship between the products and order items. We can also use these diagrams to identify the problems in our design. For example, somewhere over here, we have this table, order item notes. As you can see, this table is not related to any other tables. What is the problem here? The problem is that we can insert any values in the order ID column, and MySQL Workbench will not validate that. So we want to have data integrity. When we add a relationship between our tables, MySQL Workbench will enforce the integrity of our data. So in our child tables, we can only add values that correspond with the values in our parent tables. So currently we don't have any relationships here, and that means we can insert invalid values in the order ID and product ID columns. So these diagrams are really helpful. They help us better understand the design. They help us identify the problems, and they allow us to make any changes to this design and then script those changes to execute on other MySQL databases.